Hello, my beautiful friends. Seidel Schultz here, vocal intuitive and light-filled astrologer. I have Emily Stovall with me today. Thank you for joining me, Emily. I'm so excited to talk to you about your voice.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Okay, let's just dive in and get started.
Yeah.
So, Emily and I worked together over the span of 9 sessions, and I just wanted to kind of like walk through the process that you went through, like leading up to working with me, and then through the working with me, and now where you are currently at, and how all of those things went. So. My first question for you is where were you at with your voice before we started working together? What was one of the struggles that you were having with it?
I was having a lot of trouble with communicating with my husband, and I had a lot of trouble with communicating with my business. And of course, my business was like my number one priority because I'm used to not having good communication with my husband. So I might as well do really well at this. And so I think my goal was I saw a post from Janelle actually saying that you totally helped her hear the voice of her business and how to work it out. And I thought, that's what I need. I need Seidel. And then I had prayed about it and I felt very strongly that it was the right choice. And it was a huge leap of faith because it was a big chunk of change, that I wasn't planning on using or having in my bank account at the time either. And that's my biggest problem with my husband is communication with finances. And so I thought, oh shoot. So Heavenly Father's telling me to do this and I need to make it work. And he made it work. It was a little painful, but he made it work. And it was the best choice ever. I am so thrilled. I'm just
Oh,
so thrilled with how it's gone.
I that makes me so happy. Can I just say, like you were like, I've had bad communication with my husband for a long time, and like I'm laughing. It's not actually funny. But it is funny how like when we have this place where we're like, oh well, that's been bad for a really long time. No, like we'll add that on as like an add-on, but I really want to have good communication over here with my business because that is something, and it feels like something you can control too. Like your communication with your business, that feels more in control than maybe communication with your husband. So, I know that it was like a little rocky even before we got started because there were some things that had to be worked out. Tell me how is your communication with finances with your husband now?
Better. It's a lot better. It's still a growing process. And because it took us,
Yeah.
we're celebrating, I think, our 24th or 25th this year. I
Oh
should
my
probably look that up.
gosh.
But anyway, um, and I just think it's been so long and just so mediocre. It's just about to get really good. And we're going to be able to be on the same page. And then I can have even a more clear voice with my business because he's right behind me. I mean, he's always had my back, but my lack of communication with him has felt like I haven't had his or
Oh,
trusted that he would
wow.
take care of me or support me. And so coming together, it's just been really amazing to see how truly it has kind of opened his desire to support me more. And it was all just built up in my head incorrectly, as we do.
Yes.
Um, and so it's been huge. And in fact, last night we had a big discussion about I've wanted to move to Texas for 20 years. I've wanted to really move to Texas for the last 6 to 7 years because my parents live there now. And it just has felt so like a betrayal, like, well, he doesn't want to live in Texas, so I don't get to have what I want. And I'm not saying we're going to Texas, but I want to. But having the ability to have the discussion without him being upset with me and without being totally angry with him, it was really, I just thought in my head, Seidel would love this.
I do love it. That's like there is so many things that I want to say because they're so amazing. One of the things that you said that like really stood out to me is that it's not perfect yet, and you guys have been together for a hot minute, and so you've created like these patterns, and I think oftentimes we come into things and we desire a change, and so and we want it to be immediate, and we want it to just like bibbity bobbity boo it and have it so much better. And things like communication, things like the voice, like we set, working together, we really set up these systems for you to be able to communicate better. But then you have to step in and do the hard work of like actually communicating, which you're doing. And that is great because you now have this process, and you can see that you're like it's paying off because your communication is going so much better. And I really love that. It's hopefully it doesn't sound bad. That doesn't sound bad, does it?
No,
It's just like, it's just not an overnight thing.
no.
It just got a little bit better and a
Mhm.
little bit better, and you're just like, we are on the precipice of some amazing connection. And I think even with like the conversation that you had with him last night about, was it last night you said?
Mhm.
Yes,
Yeah.
last night about Texas. I know how important Texas is to you. Like, it's a big deal. And to be able to go into that conversation and have it be a neutral space for both of you, that's just like, hot dang, girl, hot dang. Like, high five. I mean, that takes some serious like inner change for you to hold space for a completely different conversation with him.
Yeah, I
I just
know.
can we just jump up and down for a second? I think that is absolutely incredible that you are experiencing better communication with him. And I just love that you said he supports you. He always had your back, has your back. Like that has always been the case.
Mhm.
But maybe there was some the other way that you weren't seeing, and now you're seeing it and you're making these changes. Like, I think that's one of the things that I so loved with working with you is I was just like, always homework, right? There's always homework. Homework is the best way to have practical application, and like, because you have to practice using your voice.
Mhm.
Um, and I was always blown away. You'd come back and you were like, done, 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 and excelled. Like you didn't just like you didn't just check the boxes on your homework. You like excelled. And there were times where you just had it done like same day. And I was just always amazed. And I think the life you're living now is a result of the effort that you put in.
Yeah. It's definitely paying off. It's awesome.
Let's see. Oh, yes, I did want to ask this. What concerns did you have before we started working together?
I didn't understand astrology at all, and I still don't. So if you don't, still work with Seidel was amazing and mind blowing. I had a concern that it would be I worried that it wasn't exactly what I was going to need because I wasn't sure coming in. I know God said do it, and I was like, I'm doing it, but I didn't understand why I was doing it. That
Yeah,
makes
yeah.
And it was so incredibly personal, and it was so incredibly exactly what I needed. Like, I have to find experts in certain things to be able to make everything make sense. And I didn't. I found Seidel, and she knew exactly what I needed. And so I was impressed that a lot of it was structure. You helped give me structure for my business, which I didn't know you could do. And you did, and it was brilliant, and it was exactly the steps I needed and exactly the structure I needed to be able to get where I needed to go. Because I went in thinking I need to heal so many things. Seidel's going to help me heal everything, and then I can function. But it was more of, and it did, but it was more of just basic. Hey, this is what we do with this. This is how you do this. This is how you set up your week. This is how you set up your budget. And I thought, oh my gosh, that is exactly what I needed, because, and it just kind of blew me away because I was expecting this huge, like, of being able to see everything perfectly and be amazing. And it was more of just like, well, no, Emily, get back to the basics. When you have that foundation, then you get to soar and it'll come more freely because I don't have struggles knowing exactly what I want to do or what I feel led to do, but I have struggles with making it come to fruition, if that makes sense. Like
Mhm.
my brain's going constantly. I'm like, yeah, that's a good idea. I have notebooks full of good ideas. And I'm like, okay, I need to, have a process. And now I do. And it takes so much worry and stress out of my work. It's just like, no, I know what I'm doing this week. I don't have any problems.
I know what I'm doing. Like that, I think watching your process and like that thing, like, no, I don't have any worries. I know exactly what I'm doing this week. There were so many times where we'd like talk about something and I'd be like, I want that. How do I get what Emily has? Like, that is so cool. And yeah, I did not expect that we would be setting up business processes and just stuff like that. Like, that is not something, but your desire was to communicate better with your business. And
Mhm.
because you had that desire, I really do believe that it opened up that door um, for me to be able to hear your business. And then not only did we hear it, but then you just did it. And you were like, oh, that's what I need to do? Okay, bam, done, like done, done and done. And that, like, it was so cool to watch you go from this place of like all these ideas, um, and not sure to just like direct, like so direct. And you are an Aries midheaven.
Mhm.
And like Aries is just such fire starter and just like go, but you have this Capricorn midheaven, which is the structure that we talked about. I totally didn't ask you if I could just share what your midheaven is.
You totally can. I think my ascending's Aries and my
Oh,
midheaven is
yes.
okay.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah.
And so you like have it set up where you're like structure for the business and then bam, just
Mhm.
like go and do all these things. Yes. And it was so amazing to see that come about. Do you think like what do you think out of all of the things, what do you think made it so that like it kind of assuaged your concerns, made your concerns like not concerns anymore?
That's a great question. So I'm a very logical thinking person. And I think that as soon as I had a process that I could follow, it's like a recipe. And I just have to keep repeating that. And it took away a lot of the guesswork and a lot of like, well, what should I be doing now? What should I be doing now? And it's not that anymore. I know exactly what I do on Monday. And I don't always follow it. So don't think I'm perfect in that. But I have written down what I do on Monday, what I do on Tuesday, what I do on Wednesday, and so on. And how I respond to emails. I don't respond immediately all the time because if I do that all the time, then I'm not taking care of myself and I'm not taking care of my family and my other priorities that I have outside of business hours. And having the recipe has made it huge. And the other thing was your talk about Chiron and how that's where I go to be with Jesus because Jesus is the one that heals that. I think I said that right.
Yeah, that's right.
So when I feel stressed or I feel annoyed or I feel inadequate or like I'm not doing enough, I sit with Jesus and I tell him I'm not doing well. I'm frustrated, whatever, and then I come out feeling like, okay, he's got that in his hands. He'll show me what to do with that. And I can leave it there and just accept what comes in the sense of um, he's going to make it right. And I just have to be ready to act when I hear it.
Emily, I just want to cry. Like, that's so beautiful. And it feels like relief, like a place like you could breathe.
Yeah, it's a refuge. And it's not even a nice little room. We're like in the tomb. It's like it's so dark and I'm just there with Jesus. I could probably make that prettier, but it's just what it is. And that's where we go and we sit and we chat and then we can move forward.
I actually think that it's beautiful because when you do that, like when you're in the tomb, you're like going into this cave.
Mhm.
And you're
It's
going to, and it's
safe.
private and it's safe. Yeah, exactly. And it's like there's not all this space where somebody could jump out, and scare you. Like it's just you and him in this little space. That is, there's nothing better than that,
Mhm.
honestly. I don't think so anyway. Okay. How are you feeling now about your communication with your business? And how are you feeling now about your communication with your husband? It's amazing that we were able to like look at both of those at the same time and just and I'm asking you this question, but I'm putting this in there in I'm just gonna say this and then you can answer the question.
Okay.
It is so cool to watch you throughout the program, because what we would do, like we would spend time like I didn't even do this on purpose. This was not on purpose. But we'd go into the session and we'd start off talking about business. And it was just like, bam. And it was just all this business and like getting you communicating with your business and like on the right track with it. And then all of a sudden I'd just be like, and we're done. And I'm like, would we still have time left? And now what do we do? And it's like, and now husband. And it like, I don't know if you noticed that. Did you notice how that would happen so many times? Like,
Yeah. Yeah. I was like, oh, brother. Because it's embarrassing. Like, I've been married for a long time. I should know some of this stuff, you know?
but we don't. If
Don't know
we're
until you know.
You don't know until you know, and you don't know what you're not taught. And there's a lot of things that we just aren't taught. And so we get to do that. But I just thought it was so cool because those were your two things that were your goals, like going into the program, and they were touched on so many times. And I know, like I just say, I know that so much of it was your energy and just being like this Aries fire starter because it was just like, and we're done next. Like, I could just feel that. I'm like, okay, okay. And it was like, because it was so fast. Like, it was just so fast. And it felt there was so much movement in all the sessions. And that girl, that is you. Like, that is so you. Okay, now my question is
You'll have to repeat that question.
how are you feeling now?
So I feel awesome. It felt like a double major sort of a thing. And it was really fast paced and it was really good. And I just kept thinking, how can all this be happening so perfectly and succinctly? And I'm getting everything I've asked for. And I mean, I know how because God's pretty amazing. And when you ask, he'll give it to you.
Yeah.
But I just thought, and it was so kind. It wasn't like you're kind of an idiot and it's time to fix it, which is how I talk to myself occasionally. And I am trying to fix that. But it was just like, Emily, this is a great idea. Here's how you do it in your business. And here's how you do it with Zach. And here's how it'll work out. And it was just a lovely thing of like, I've been asking him, how can I have what I want in my life? And he's showing me how to do it. Even if he just showed me in my business, it would still spill over to how I should do it with my husband, and it covers everything that I need to work on. So I did feel a little overwhelmed at times because I just thought that's so much information. Please, subconscious, I hope you heard all that. And here
Subconscious.
we go. But, you know, now, like, I wasn't even sure how good I felt about the communication with my husband until last night. And it's been like 2 weeks since our last visit. And I thought, so it takes some time and it takes some work and it takes some effort of me being willing to use what I know because, it's a hard place to come from when we're used to not going there. And so my communication with him, I'm just so hopeful because I was feeling so resentful of not being heard even though I've talked about it for 20 years. I'm like, do you think I'm going to tire of talking about it? Or, just keep it under the rug? Or do you think that, we just don't want to be there? So if that's the case, then where else can we go? Because I'm
Right.
ready for some change. I'm ready for some shakeup. And it went really well. And with my business, I still have those moments of like, am I really doing what I'm supposed to be doing? Is this
Mhm.
the right choice? Is this what the people need? Is this what I need? And I don't want to mess up there. So I go very tentatively and slowly and make sure that I'm not asking amiss and I'm not misleading anybody, you know, I'm
Yeah.
like, the place you go is God. And this, I'm a facilitator. I can help you. If you feel drawn to me,
Yeah.
I will help. And if you don't, there are so many other light-filled resources that God will bring you to. And so that takes a lot of the pressure off. Is like, I'm not here to save the world. The world's been saved. You know,
Yeah.
I'm here to help you feel better. I'm here to help connect you back to God. And that's my dream job, is to just be like a helper, you know, and bring people back to the knowledge of themselves, their divine nature, and how they can communicate with God, because we all can,
Yeah. Oh my
just like
gosh.
it. Yeah.
Yeah. I just love that. It sounds to me like you have stepped into a place where you feel more confident
Yeah.
owning what you do.
Yeah. It feels safer. Before I was like, well, I'm not sure. And now it's like, well, this is what I do. This is what I've been doing for 2 years, and I'm pretty good at it. And now I know how to do it better. Let's
Yeah.
go.
Let's go.
Yeah.
I love that so much. That makes me so happy because part of communicating with your business is being able to communicate your business to other people.
Yeah.
And if you are standing, if you're feeling more confident, then you can absolutely express it a lot easier to other people. That's beautiful, Emily. You're amazing.
Yeah. You're amazing. Thank you. I'm loving it.
What has been what do you think has been your biggest takeaway throughout our process together or your biggest win?
My biggest win is, oh, there's so many. Probably my biggest win is just learning to trust myself and my impressions. Like, I thought, I need to work with Seidel. I'm going to work with Seidel. And then I had to work through all the, well, how am I going to afford it? How am I going to talk to my husband about it? I don't want to talk to my husband about it. How can I afford it without talking to my husband about it? All of these different things. But the trust is Seidel was the answer. I signed up, and I followed through, and I did the work, and um and now I feel amazing. Like, Heavenly Father knew I needed that step of confidence. When I listen, I follow, and I act, and then I see the results, and I'm like, yeah, that was a good choice.
Oh my
So now,
gosh.
next time, be like, oh, when I feel this is my next step, I'll be able to step into it much faster, I think.
That feels like a big deal, like listen, follow, act.
It's a big deal. Yeah.
Well, that answer's like that, like uh, exactly.
Mhm.
Do you know what I mean? Because you came in wanting business stuff, you came in wanting husband stuff, and you walked away and you're like, listen, follow, act.
Mhm.
And like this confidence with yourself. How do you think the rest of your life, because obviously your business has changed, right?
Mhm.
Um,
Incredibly. Yeah.
and your marriage communication is obviously changing, like it's in the process of changing, which is so cool. And I do want to just say, like, you saw this great big thing happen. You had this really big conversation. And I do want to just say, in order for you to see that big, like, in order for that to have happened, a lot of other little things had to have changed first.
Mhm.
And so I'm sure there are like all these things that you've been doing that you probably weren't even aware that you've been doing. And then you have this big conversation and you're like, did that just happen?
Mhm.
Wait, that just happened.
We weren't mad.
I know. We weren't mad. Like, that's a big deal. How do you think how have other things in your life changed? How has your life changed that you think will never go back to the same and will never go back to where it was before?
That is my dream. I don't have that much confidence in myself, I don't think. But it has changed, because I used to worry about my business 24/7, because I
Mm.
didn't know how to manage it. I didn't know how to make sure I had enough time for everything. I didn't know how to make sure I had enough time to put new product out. And now I have my schedule, and there's times listed on my schedule, and then I stop working. And then I'm still working on not thinking about it, but I understand that I can cut that cord and just be like present for myself and present for my family and the other things that call me. And that's huge because it was 24/7 stress, and you know, cortisol, hormones, and all sorts of horrible things happen when you're always stressed and fight or flight. And so that was a huge help that I hope I will never go back to 24/7 worrying about my business, because it's not about the money. It's not about even everything I can produce. It's about me following what I want to do, and I want to help others. And this is my way of doing it. And so if I can keep my focus on that, then a lot of the stress goes away.
I just want to say, mic drop, sister. Mic drop. And that was one of the things that was just so amazing as I watched you through the process. And one of the things was I was like, okay, I want that for me too, where I was just like, okay, and the hours are done. And, because we do experience this, like when you work from home and you run your own business from your home, there is, it's harder because you don't have the physical location stop and start, because because you are at home. And so you really have to create that for yourself. And that was so incredible. And it didn't take you weeks to do that. We talked about it and you implemented it, like I swear it was that day. And when we talked the next week, you were like, this is so much better. And then it was just, and of course you're like, I'm not perfect at it, but I mean, who is perfect at anything? But you have gained so much freedom to be present in your personal life, like with your kids,
Mhm.
and like the nagging sound is not in the back. And like even just saying that, I just think the stress relief and the freedom that gives you to be able to communicate better even with your kids, and to
Yes.
be more patient with your kids, because when we are worried about something, we carry it around like a bag of bricks on our back, and it totally weighs us down, and that it impacts how we communicate with everyone in our life, not just our business, not just our husband, and not even just with our kids, also with our clients and with other people on the street. And
Yeah.
I I mean, I think that was one of the very first things that we did was implement that, like, rule or whatever, you worry
Mhm.
about business during business hours. If it's not business hours, then you don't worry about business. And you just sailed with it. So I have every confidence in you that that is going to be something that you will continue doing. Ideas, for sure, but ideas are outside of business hours, but ideas are different than worry.
Mhm.
Ideas are so different than worry. That was, I think that was amazing. I think you're amazing. Okay, what would you say to someone who is on the fence about working with me?
So I would say if you are on the fence, then you're on the fence. And that means you should choose to do it. Because if you're not brought to that place, then it doesn't really cross your mind. But if it's crossed your mind, I work a lot with angels, and all of our thoughts, they come from sources. They're not all just created within us. And if they're good, they're of God. And if they happen repetitively, then they're asking you to act on those thoughts. So if you thought sidle more than once, then you need to ask, is this the right choice? And you will be led. And if you choose to follow that instruction, you will not be disappointed. My life has completely shifted and changed into something that I feel I can manage, that I feel I'm in control of, and that I'm excited about instead of afraid of. And that is worth everything. And I would definitely say jump off that fence and run to Seidel.
Jump off the fence. You know what? I have never heard that before. Like about, I don't think I've ever heard that before. Like if you're on the fence, then you're on the fence and do it, because like the idea has come to you for a reason. I love that. I'm going to start implementing that in my life when I'm like, I don't know. Okay, I've had the thought more than once,
Yeah.
then it's time. And I'm going to be like, dun 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 dun.
Do it.
Running towards whatever it is. That's
Yeah. The
the other
wind going through your hair. Yeah.
that's on the other side of my fence. It's the beach. The beach is on the other side. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much, Emily. I want to share a little bit about what Emily does, and I want you to share a little bit about it because I think what you do is so amazing. Emily is an intuitive scribe. She's fan freaking tastic. I have done a group session of yours before, and it was so, so good. So, will you tell everybody what you do and how they can find you and share your Facebook group because your Facebook group is fantastic.
Yes, thank you so much. I am at on Facebook. It's Reclaiming Your Intuition with Emily Stovall, and I think Seidel's going to put the links below just because I don't want to spell it out. But also, it's there's not a ton of discussion in there. I don't know if people are afraid to share or whatever, but I do have it where people can't spam, so that's helpful. So you won't be sold a bunch of products in there. But it's just about trusting yourself and finding your own intuition because we all have it, and it's important to reclaim it so that you can live a more purposeful life and be more happy and
Oh
find
my
joy.
gosh.
Yeah.
I think that's so important. It's so important.
Yeah. And it took me till I was 40. I'm 43 now. And I just want everybody to get there before I do. You know, I want to share how it works. And it's just a good experience there. My website, I offer, so Ali Duzette is also one of my mentors, and I offer online library like she does. I don't create a lot of videos. I don't create any videos at the moment, but they're all written. So if you are short on time, you can read it in within like 10 minutes and move on with your day. And then I include an audio file, which will also, you can listen to while you're working out or running errands. Just those are the two methods that I find super helpful. I'm kind of a to the point person, so I don't like getting off track. So everything's written. So if I did a video, you'd watch me read it. And it seems silly. So that's why I've done it. I went through 20 plus years of severe depression and anxiety, and with the guided imagery, it totally healed me within like a year.
Wow.
Um, it can happen faster if you really listen to the spirit and follow, you can be healed. And I would love to be a part of that journey. So my website's www.emilystovall.com, and there's two L's, but it's all available in there. There's some free offerings you can check out and see if we resonate. If we don't, totally fine. But if we do, that's a good, safe healing space for you to be. Yeah. And I communicated that pretty clearly.
Yes, you did. Oh my gosh, I love you. Dance it out. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah. And I do offer some one-on-one sessions. Those kind of fill up. But if you want to dive really deep and it just be about you, I offer those on my website as well. House clearings and words of encouragement sessions. Those are the ones that are a little bit more personal if you want a more personal touch.
Words of encouragement. Who doesn't need words of encouragement? It's like seriously. I think
Yeah.
we can all use
It's one
that
of my
all the
favorite
time.
things to do. I love it.
Oh my gosh. Go check her out. She's amazing. Okay, and I'll put all of those links below in the video, below in the description below the video. Okay, I love you, Emily. Thank
I
you
love
for
you.
joining me today. We'll see you next time.
You bet. Bye.